Proactive. Habari yenyu. How you guys doing? Welcome back. It's been a good week. Birthday girl is back. Had a good time during her birthday. How you doing, Elsie?
I'm good.
How was your birthday?
It was amazing.
FYI, no cake for us?
You know.
Your sister bakes cakes.
Yes.
Cake yetu iko wapi?
Cake zilisha.
Moving on swiftly, like we are not part of this family. Yani tulinyimwa okay, acha niache kukua more extra, but how has your week been? Let me start from there before we even get into what's been happening.
My week has been quite busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just working.
Checky, give us something more, manze. You can't just give us this one lines. How was your day?
You know, now I'm working from home, and now working from home means...
Tell us you went to an art gallery for the first time.
Yes, I went to an art gallery at some point last week.
How am I the one describing your week? Sasa inakaaje, manze.
Okay, so my week was okay, but there was nothing out of the ordinary, save for the fact that I went to the art gallery at some point last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think last week, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to see the works of children in probation and aftercare services.
Wow.
Yes. So
the one
they're very artistic.
Okay.
So it's a project by the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. So I just went to check it out.
So these kids are on probation. What?
They're on probation. So they're children in conflict with the law.
Wow.
You don't call a child a criminal. A child who's committed a crime is a child in conflict with the law.
So were the kids there?
No, the kids were not there.
Oh, but they just got to showcase their work.
Yes.
You liked some of their work?
Yes. I was very impressed. I even voted for one of them.
Oh, they were going to win something?
Yeah. It was a competition.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a worthy cause.
Mm-hmm.
Birthday to Kanyimwa, but it is well. I think I had the same old week. Work was hectic. I'm really trying to think of something nilifanya in the course of the week that made sense to me, like was really productive.
Yes, you had a retreat last weekend.
I had a retreat.
Yes.
Maze nilika kwa fireplace. You know? Oh man, it was so good. Like, and now I understand why they had fireplaces back in the days. I think that should be something that should come back. It was just nice relaxing there, enjoying the fireplace and just chilling and having conversations with people. In the process of just trying to help them develop something new. I don't want to get into it because probably it's not my place to really state what's going on, but we were just trying to brainstorm on stuff, and it was a time for relaxation. So I enjoyed the fireplace for sure.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Yeah. While we were away, a governor was impeached.
Yes, our governor was impeached, and now Nairobi, we're just there. There's no governor, there's no deputy governor.
Apparently, the deputy governor just absconded his duties.
Oh, really?
Apparently, they've never gotten...
Actually, yes. I read it somewhere on some WhatsApp group that the deputy governor might be coming back to be the governor. But now if it happens, it really won't make sense to me and to many other Kenyans, because this guy has not been around for the last, 3 years now, 2020. He resigned in 2018.
I don't even see him working at any point. He just stayed for a while.
Yeah.
But he's always been a mercenary, like going to the highest bidder and but he does an amazing... Look, it's not a bad thing.
He's very sharp, so
exactly.
He's on demand everywhere.
And that's why I say,
how I see
you can be a mercenary for a good cause, you know. You go and you transform a place.
Yeah.
And so it's not a bad thing. Me, I'm not saying it like he's a bad guy. He actually steps into places and they transform and they become really good.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what's the gameplay here. People were in Mombasa and apparently they voted.
That was interesting. That was very... In fact, I read somewhere that the people who had been taken to Mombasa, is it Kwale or wherever they had been taken, that they are stranded now after the sponsor left them, abandoned them after they voted behind his back. That's quite interesting. But that was a smart move.
In the name of accounts.
That was a smart move.
Look,
I must acknowledge.
And now we're being told accounts were hacked. And the ISOT authority has been working on that bill. I don't know if it was passed about hacked accounts, So this is something that it's just been a tough time for him. I don't know what to say about it for sure. But you can see there's actually a big conflict between state and the county.
State and county devolution.
Yeah, and people need to take a hold of their county.
Speaking of which, doesn't the BBI propose now that Nairobi should no longer be a county?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Nairobi people are feeling about that.
I'm also not aware. I've not really been
Yeah,
talking to people about
I'm
it.
really not willing to lose my county to the state, because devolution has made counties really powerful.
But have you felt the impact of devolution at your level?
It's a process that we are getting to, and I told you we are probably
I think devolution is more pronounced, in the other counties, but not really in Nairobi.
not really in Nairobi.
Not really.
And even in the other counties, it's not really as pronounced, because everyone is at the initial stages. We are hoping as we continue, things are going to develop and become better. And this is something we need to, I don't know, look into or push the agenda more. And maybe it's something that we're going to do season 3 and really focus on devolution. Probably call people who are working in these counties and they're working towards this devolved systems making sense, and find out what's up. So, all right, in the same time, I came to understand that this amendment can be multiple choice.
It's multiple choice.
Guys, let's take a break kwanza. Kuna mtu anatafutwa sana.
Do you have a message? What's your story? What's your experience? Do you want to tell it? Email us at hello@acute.co.ke and let's make this a reality.
Visit our website and make sure to subscribe to get more of our amazing shows. Acute Media. Express yourself.
So, I came to learn that we can vote for these things via multiple choices.
Really?
It was suggested in a certain interview that some referendums have been done via multiple choices and not just a yes or no thing.
Oh, that's interesting, because as far as I've always known, referendum is always a yes or no question.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's what the constitution stipulates.
You really notice in certain countries were stated, and I've tried to research, but it would be interesting. Some of the pointers are like, if you have multiple choices, you get to choose what you really want.
So yes, no, and maybe.
No? I think they actually...
Or specific amendments. Maybe to vote for specific amendments. Yes to this, no to that. Yes to this, no to that.
That would be interesting.
Yes to tax holiday. Yes to help. No to... to introduction of new offices.
But it's so interesting. Yani immediately wanasikia kutakuwa tu naka grace period, wana hike fees. Si ushukuru Mungu namaliza mazee.
Mimi nishamaliza.
Is it fees out?
I'm a firstborn. I have siblings behind me who will be getting to campus. So.
I know. Watakuwa napata zimehaikiwa. Yeah, but that's the week. I don't know. What else was there? What have we not said about the whole week?
I think that's it. The most interesting thing is the impeachment, and now we are waiting to see the fate of that impeachment, because I think it has to go through the Senate. I don't think it ends at the county assembly level. So just like the former impeachment attempt at Kirinyaga, and of course the impeachment at Kiambu, they all went through the Senate. So I also expect that the most recent impeachment, the Nairobi impeachment, will also go through the Senate, and the Senate will have the final say.
It's interesting to see what the Senate will say this time.
Yeah.
Because we've seen favors, them favoring a certain, to some extent.
Yeah.
They have leaned towards a certain side when it comes to impeaching governors. And it's never been those fair ones that we expected. Guys, we're taking a short break. I think we are, and then we come back, start doing chapter 2 and 3.
See you then.
Season 1 of the Kenya's Blueprint. We look at a colossus of an entity, Kenya Cooperative Creameries, KCC. We present the making, the journey, and the breaking of an empire. Weekly episodes on acute.co.ke. Subscribe to get notified once an episode is released.
Right, welcome back.
Chapter 2.
Yes, chapter 2 and 3.
Yes,
but let's just
covering both chapter 2 and 3.
I think at the end of it all, we're not trying to read for people the whole thing. It's just to give them a brief idea of what's happening in there, so that they can go check them out themselves and see cause tukianza kusema hapa tutasoma constitution yote, si afadhali tu tunyamaze basi mtu aanze kuisoma.
Si mtu anaweza jisomea.
Yeah,
so,
you know. Ianze tena chapter 2 article 4 Declaration of the Republic. It sounds so funny.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make it as alive as possible, and just to get people to
understand. Yeah.
All right, what do you think about chapter 2?
Chapter 2, the Republic. You know me, I already know what chapter 2 is all about. I don't know if you have any questions regarding chapter 2.
No, I want to hear your opinions on chapter 2.
Okay, chapter 2, I like it, especially because it has my favorite article in the Constitution, Article 10, on the national values and principles of governance. And I think we discussed this during season 1. I think I might have mentioned it.
We touched on it, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, our country has values and principles that guide how, the government operates, how we should operate as Kenyans, how we should conduct our business and all that. So all that is found in Article 10, National Values and Principles of Governance. Yes.
What do you think is the biggest one that people should? Part 2 is the biggest one for me when they talk about patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people.
Mine will be the good governance principles. And what is good governance for me? A state that is founded on the rule of law and respect for human rights. And of course, a state whereby the government respects separation of powers.
Are you trying to hint at something?
Of course I am, because now in terms of rule of law here in Kenya, we have really people normally say we've fallen short of the glory. Now in Kenya we've fallen short of Article 10. Pali tuko sahi, honestly.
#Kenya iko na wenyewe.
I was very disappointed. I've actually been very disappointed ever since the 2017 elections. Every time I see court orders being disregarded, it just breaks my heart because they are supposed to set an example for us.
Yeah. I mean, in the communities, people are just like, where ujui Kenya iko na wenyewe. That's the worst statement
then
for me.
Respect for human rights. Human rights but we'll get there when we discuss chapter 4, because chapter 4 is on the Bill of Rights. But yes, human rights is one of the national values and principles of governance.
What do you think about national unity?
National unity. Are we there? Yes, I guess. We're united as Kenyans. Okay, whenever we have athletes competing on behalf of Kenya, for the marathons.
We're united on specific things. And Cheki, when things go bad, we're never united. When things are good, you're proud to be Kenyan. Wacha tu vitu zianze kwenda combo. And I don't know. This is one of those. And
I think it's important that I ask you this. Last time I checked, you're not really patriotic, Timo. I hope you've noticed that patriotism is one of the national values and principles of governance. 10A. 10-2A.
10-2A, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I am trying my best. Work in progress. Wacha kunianika hivyo bala. Where did you I am trying my best to be patriotic. Me being here and telling and even trying to educate people is a sign of patriotism, sindio?
Yes.
Nimejaribu. Makofi kwangu, watu wangu.
And since we're talking about patriotism, I think it's important that we mention chapter 2 that talks about the national, official and other languages. That's Article 7. And then, of course, Article 8, national symbols and national days. The 9, I think we have symbols of national unity. It tulikuwa tunafunzwa social studies. Yeah.
Unajua wewe ulifunzwa social studies, mimi nilifunzwa social studies. Let's move. I mean, it was good. In the course of the week I tried to ask people if they know the national symbols, and even someone told me the president is a national symbol. They were like, what?
That's what we were taught, but things changed.
Yes,
but the president, I'd say the president is a symbol of national unity.
Wait,
I'm
last
telling
week you were
when-
calling him a representative. You called
Yes, he's a
ambassadors representatives.
Exactly.
Now,
So
how do they
Uhuru
become?
is working in Uganda, and whatever he says, if he says that Kenya is for this, Kenya is against this, it means we are all for it.
Look, me, I've come to understand why it was deducted from there, because at times this man is not even uniting them. He's separating them. So they can be very... at times they can be good people who actually unite the country, and at times we have people who are not gonna do anything of the sort, and so they keep the country divided, and that's why they were chucked out of it, because they are human.
Okay, then maybe the term should be presidency.
Yeah, probably the president. No, because this
But
is
anyway,
just
there's a
position.
reason why it was omitted. Before this constitution was there, then the presidency used to be a symbol of national unity.
Yeah,
It was
but
considered.
no.
But for now, we have the flag,
Yes.
national anthem.
Still remember it?
Yes, of course.
Uko
I was
sawa.
a scout.
Worst mistake. I need to know if people still remember. Like, if you ask me the second verse or the third one, I am out. And it's so wrong, by the way, Andy.
Yeah.
Need to work on them.
You
Maybe
need to know it.
next episode, I'll probably come and start it with the national anthem. Hautajua.
Okay. The coat of arms and the public seal.
So I think the biggest question for me, I could understand the coat of arms, but I didn't understand when they said the public seal. What are they talking about?
Public seal, I cannot really define it, but I can give you an example. When this constitution was promulgated, I'm sure if you watched that event, and I'm sure you watched that event, or at least you've seen pictures from the event, the promulgation event, you will see former President Kibaki holding a document with a red stamp. It's like a stamp. So the public seal is like a stamp, only that it is more permanent. Yeah, there's some material. So that is the public seal. Yes, that sealed the constitution as promulgated.
Okay.
Yes, so we have a public seal, and it is also a symbol of national
So it's
unity.
probably used in specific things. It's not for everyone. And that's why it doesn't... I didn't even know the public seal was a symbol. So that was interesting too.
Then the other thing that's interesting, if you ask me in article, chapter 2, there's article 7 that talks about the national, official and other languages. So the national languages in Kenya are English and Kiswahili. Before the 2010 constitution, I believe the position was that Kiswahili was the national language, English was the official language. And now what's even more interesting is the fact that I think National Assembly or Senate, either it's in the National Assembly or the Senate, they introduced a day for Kiswahili. They introduced a day for Swahili. So I don't know when it is. Maybe Thursday or Wednesday, I don't know, but they introduced a day for Swahili.
Afilika tumerudi primary school pale ulikuwa unajua Wednesday or some specific day, you know.
Yes.
So
I think the National Assembly, they're trying to uphold this.
So on that day a Senate member cannot try and
No. But
argue their
no,
points.
there are members of parliament who are actually struggling. It was on the news. I don't know why you didn't watch it, but maybe a month ago.
Okay.
It was a month ago. Some members of parliament who are really struggling to speak in Kiswahili, during the Kiswahili Day.
Ouch.
Yes, but anyway, it is now both a national and an official language.
On the low, how's your Swahili?
And also... My Swahili is terrible, by the terrible.
Yeah, really.
And also interestingly, sign language is also considered a national language. Yes.
I think sign language has done has been
actually,
really good.
Article 7.1 says the national language is Kiswahili. However, the official languages are English and Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that's the third part.
Then it also recognizes sign language. So
and you're missing out to Braille and other communication formats and technologies accessible to persons with disabilities. I think they've done an amazing job with sign language. It's so nice today. I mean, even for the
nowadays,
news,
for every
like,
public event, there's always
someone
somebody
there.
to sign.
Yeah, like doing his thing, and it's interesting because now, if anything, if there's any state occasion, sign language, and I like how even the media promoted it, because anytime you hear the news or any event
There's
going on,
always
there's
somebody
always
to
someone.
sign.
What now happens, I don't know if the same could be said for Braille and other communications, and we don't even know what other communications
know.
are. So maybe it's something we really need to think through and also promote, because
When they come to think of it, there are no newspapers that are sold in Braille.
Yeah. So where do
Yeah.
they get their support from if you can't see?
Yeah,
So
people
those are things.
visually impaired.
Yeah, those are things we could check out. I don't know why you missed out on Article 9. You missed the national days because I wanted to these national days and what do they make sense for us?
Yes, why not? Other than the fact that it's a holiday, you don't get to go to work. You
Yeah.
don't get to go to school. You get to relax.
They've never been, and they're new ones. Is Madaraka
Madaraka has been there.
has been there.
Mashujaa Day used to be Kenyatta Day.
Yeah. So what are
This
we
constitution
celebrating
did
with
away Moi
Mashujaa?
Day. It did away with Moi Day, but Moi Day was reintroduced. by an order of the
It was
court.
back,
Yeah.
Order of the court reintroduced Moi Day. And
Mhm.
people didn't even think through why we are reintroducing Moi Day. Kila mtu alienda kupiga sherehe now.
Yeah,
Like
but
for us, holidays.
to be honest, I've never read that judgment to understand why Moi Day was reintroduced. But thank you for another holiday.
If these days are not making sense to us, why are they being forced down our throat like
But what do
celebration?
you mean that they are not making sense to us?
What do they
you know?
make sense to you? I think the only one
We're
that
just
makes...
commemorating, the fact that we've come from far. How many years have we been a republic?
Who is commemorating?
We as the Kenyans.
Who-
And also a day to celebrate our heroes on Mashujaa Day. That's when we remember the Dan Kimathi.
Okay, my patriotism is still struggling here. But I think they need then to sensitize people on these specific days, because I don't see the zeal and energy people had back in the days for these national holidays, and even doing the whole history behind and
Yeah.
telling people how
Have you ever
independence-
attended the gatherings that happen during these days?
No, I was
Sijui Nyayo Stadium, and of course I like, because of devolution nowadays these national
It's
holidays
done
are celebrated
by
in
their
other
own,
counties.
and state will visit one
Yeah,
specific
I think
county
they
on
were,
that
they
time.
were in Kisii for the, I think, is it Mashujaa Day?
Yeah.
Was it at Kisii?
I just remember the last one, they were in Kisii.
I know they've also gone to Nakuru.
Mhm.
Mm.
And it's always a bitter session for even people being shown on media. Look, for me, I'm wondering, back in the day, it was really, and I would look forward to that specific day, this Madaraka Day, and go out and sit on the rooftop just waiting for the fighters to nini.
Mhm.
But now I don't think kids even think about it. They're just waiting for their parents to take them to
Yeah.
some hangout somewhere, or it's a break from
So
work.
it is our duty as patriotic Kenyans, as responsible citizens, to educate our young ones on the importance of commemorating these days.
But we should be supported also for people to even focus on the history of these things and why they're being there. Because surely reintroducing Moi Day was
Come
for
to
what
think of
reason?
it, may they see next week it's a public holiday, 12th. Yes, Jamhuri
yeah.
Day. Next Saturday is Jamhuri Day.
Alafu inaland the fight with Kenyans ni inaland Sato.
by
Haikuland
the way,
Friday.
by the
Ingeland
way.
Friday ndio tuipige mpaka Sunday.
No.
Ama
I think people
ianze
prefer Sunday so that Monday becomes
So unaitisha break kutoka Friday na unajua urudi job mpaka Tuesday. Kenyans, I am part of that group. I need to change my mentality on this thing. Me, I wasn't even sure, because I kid you not, if it was on a Sunday, I would have known. Or on a Friday, I would have already known that it's a public holiday. Ningekuwa excited about it. But now niko like, si mekami imepita ndio hii. We move on regardless. Yadi. And
then the other thing that is very important to discuss is Article 8.
okay.
Article 8 states that there shall be no state religion. What does that mean? It means that Kenya, the government of Kenya cannot purport to promote a specific religion over another religion.
And this is one of those things you have been asking, because the conflict with what it says uko juu.
The preamble.
Yeah, at the
God
preamble.
bless Kenya.
God bless Kenya.
So people have been questioning how comes we start with Almighty God. I think the preamble mentions the Almighty God and then ends with God bless Kenya. Yet Article 8 talks about Kenya not having any state religion. There are many ways you can look at it. If you ask me, people find it controversial, but I don't really think it's as controversial, because by saying God bless Kenya, that's not necessarily promoting one religion over another. Because God, Hindus have their God. God, the Hindus can relate that God to their
I
God.
think this whole conversation started when the atheist society of Kenya became a bit more vocal.
Oh, yeah.
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 The whole process of, you've said there's no state
There's no state religion.
and then acknowledging the power of the Almighty God. I'm like, bro, si uchague struggle moja, mbona tu.
Oh yeah. I'm sure now an atheist will struggle now to understand.
Yeah. And it's good to just, some things just remove them for the sake of.
Unataka itolewe, because if you ask me staki
Look,
itolewe.
and you're for sure we're talking from a Christian point, eh?
Yes, I'm talking from a Christian point, because I
Yeah.
would want my child, as my child is reading the constitution, ajue Kenya, we also respect
So
God.
you would prefer
ibaki hapo.
articulate ndio ichujwe.
No, articulate inaweza baki pia, because it wouldn't really be right for that. Okay, I wouldn't want to live in a country that promotes a specific religion of another. Most Middle East countries are actually Islamic countries. They actually promote the Islam religion, and Islam even informs their laws. The Sharia law, is even reduced into their constitution. This is how you do this is how you do that. I like the freedom that we have in Kenya, and this is the freedom that was fought for by our mashujas that we celebrate on Mashujaa Day.
That you celebrate, that I am learning to start to celebrate on Mashujaa Day.
Yes, so yeah, just take note of the fact that there is no state religion in Kenya. So in Kenya, you're free to subscribe to any religion.
This statement
the government does not promote one religion over another. Yeah.
But they still acknowledge the power of the Almighty.
We, not they, we. This constitution is ours.
Oh,
Preamble.
sorry. We acknowledge the supremacy and the power of the Almighty God, but this state has no religion.
Yes.
Look, let's touch on culture kidogo before we even touch on chapter 3, because chapter 3 is not that big and we know just the conflicting parts. I think culture is one of those things that should be the foundation of the nation, promoting them effectively and also appreciating all the different cultures that we have.
Yes.
This is one that I have been vocal about, and even when we're talking about the BBI, that's the one thing that I have been like, people don't even understand other cultures, where they're coming from, and at times they just
People don't understand.
Okay,
People don't appreciate.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
don't
problem.
appreciate.
People don't appreciate. But I think the state is really trying, if you ask me.
Really?
Yeah. Aren't you aware that the Senate, the Speaker of the Senate,
Help me
he
out.
recently allowed the members of the Senate to dress according to their cultures. And Ledama Olekina, the Narok senator, really
went all out.
Yeah, he went all out. Today, I still see him with the Masai Shuka and all
But I
that.
told
And
you.
he goes to the Senate to represent the people of Narok with the Masai attire.
Look,
So,
I've been vocal about this, Elsie. Mini mesema from the beginning. We need to change that Ministry of Sports and Culture should be separated so that culture can take
so
time.
there's a Ministry of Culture.
That there's a Ministry of Culture, even if it's not going to be given its own ministry, but it can focus on its own and promote the culture. Because stereotypes that are out here, it's just that there are people who are ignorant and they need to be more informed about them. And research needs to be done vastly so that people can appreciate all the different cultures that are there.
Yeah.
I'm always looking forward to see all the festivals that go on in this country, because
Music festivals. Yes.
cultural festivals. Wachana na music fest na kina drama fest. Sawa zinaleta.
They
but
also
that-
promote culture.
Yeah, but beyond the school part, where people can go for all these things, the Turkana festival,
Yeah,
the
I
Lamu
think
festival,
Lamu has one.
let's go around all these festivals. I mean, Nairobi can even do something that brings out all the different cultures, as the Bomas of Kenya was doing. Now I don't know what happened to Bomas of Kenya. It's not even being promoted as it was. And we were always going around into the cultural villages and seeing how they live, because there were people there. Then you wait for the main event hapo chini. Siku hizi Bomas imegeuzwa tu place ya siasa, man. Ukisikia tu Bomas hata utaki story yake.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, you're trying to promote unity, and also you're trying to recognize culture, but you're not doing much about it. Yeah, and so people walk around with, let me not even get into the quotes and the things that they say, but I think that's the one thing for me that I can say about culture when it comes to chapter 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about citizenship. Unless you have something to add from culture, do you?
Culture. Well, I'd actually commend the state. They've really tried. If you ask me, they have. Forget even other than the Senate, we have the art galleries like the one I had.
Okay.
Yes, and in Kenya, one can freely speak in his or her ethnic language.
Look, let me ask you. On the part 2, Article 2, Part C, when talk about promote the intellectual property rights of the people of Kenya, do you think they do that?
Yes.
Oh.
At least we have a body for registration of copyrights, and I think they remitted royalties to artists.
That's a fight.
Last year when Calligraph received 2,500 and it became such a story.
And you check out the streams and all the things that he's done. This is a whole conversation on its own.
Yeah, but we're not there as a country.
As far as we are concerned, Elsie is saying you're doing a good job. I'm saying you need to pull up your socks. Wear your socks. Don't pull them up.
You see, anyone who even wants to get married doesn't have to go through the church, and also doesn't also have to go through the AG. The country recognizes Rorasho. The country recognizes...
But Rorasho has been there since Kitambo.
But the thing is, Rorasho can happen, and then you guys don't even go to church, and the law will still consider you guys married. That is how much this country promotes culture.
Let's just say they need to improve kidogo. They need to improve.
Sawa.
Citizenship.
Are you a citizen of Kenya? Are you?
This world is not my home.
Timo, you're a citizen. And if you're a citizen, what do you think makes you a citizen?
My mother decided.
Your mother decided?
That on the day that I would be born, that it was going to happen in Kenya.
So you're a citizen by birth?
I'm a citizen by birth.
Yeah, so...
If I was given the opportunity, check the birth and the naturalization and registration, I am trying to be patriotic. Wacha kuniput on the spot.
Sasa hawa watu wa GHC still think that naturalization is one of the ways of acquiring citizenship. One of the imports of the 2010 constitution, one of the things it introduced or did away with, and that should be the word, is naturalization as a way of acquiring citizenship. So citizenship can only be acquired by birth and by registration.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest bone of contention when it comes to citizenship is whatever is happening to Miguna, is that right? Yeah. That's the biggest question we need to answer.
Is he a citizen of Kenya?
Is he a citizen of Kenya?
I think he is. I don't even think, I know he is, and a citizen by birth. Now, you see, Miguna, he
I think fled.
He fled.
Yeah, seeking asylum.
He sought asylum he sought asylum in Canada.
Yeah,
I think
back
he was
in the
running
Moi
away.
era.
Yeah, in the Moi era, because due to political whatever. Then he went to Canada, and then he became a Canadian citizen. And during those days, the former constitution, the repealed constitution of Kenya, did not recognize dual citizenship. So once he acquired the citizenship of Canada, then he lost the citizenship of Kenya. And that was the case for many other people who, went to other countries and probably got the acquired citizenship of other countries. They automatically lost the Kenyan citizenship. But when the 2010 constitution was introduced, it introduced dual citizenship. It recognizes dual citizenship, whereby you can be a citizen of Kenya and a citizen of another country. And I believe Miguna reapplied properly
they let him vie for governor.
Yes. That's the question. How did he make it to the ballot if he's not a Kenyan citizen?
Not a Kenyan. And the other fight was,
the courts have affirmed that Miguna is a citizen of Kenya, just as he is a citizen of Canada.
So this is again state trying to play here sub game with us, making us this hashtag of Kenya iko na wenyewe, and we allowing it just to be played out and just letting this guy suffer on his own, yet we know that we are supposed to actually defend this constitution when things like that come. The other person was the lady who was supposed to be given a state position, but she
there was a lady who was supposed to be an ambassador.
An ambassadorial role,
and then it was controversial because she was a citizen of the US.
And then everyone was trying to say ati wachana na citizenship ya US kwa we drop kwanza ndio tukupatie.
Yeah, but I think the court even ruled in her favor.
Yeah, it did. And
there's some people, this constitution prescribes that it provides that there are people who can actually have dual citizenship and there are people who cannot. I think judges and magistrates are allowed to have dual citizenship, but the president cannot be a dual citizen.
No way.
Yes.
That's a fact
Yes.
that you should have started with. We didn't know that. How?
Yeah, you didn't know. We cannot have a president who's a citizen of both Kenya and another country, because a president must, be loyal to Kenya. Allegiance
But
must
once
be
you're...
to only one country, Kenya.
What happens when you're done with
Then
your
there
term?
are other state officers also who are not allowed to have dual citizenship.
Okay.
But yes.
What
that's
happens
the
when
case.
I'm done with my term? Can
When
I now?
when you're done with your term, sure, you can decide to go and acquire the citizenship of
But
another
for the
country.
5 or 10 years, siwezi kakuwa
you
dual
can't,
citizen.
you can't. And there are other state officers who cannot be dual citizens. So, yeah.
Let's talk about for someone who's here and probably is a citizen by registration. What happens if how they can be? It can be revoked. I think the word of the town.
So I think first of all, even as we talk about this is Article 17. Then you have to note that the Constitution, as per what it provides, you cannot lose your citizenship that you acquired by birth. So you're a citizen of Kenya by birth. I'm a citizen of Kenya by birth,
So we
because
can't
both
lose
my
it.
parents were Kenyans. I was born in Kenya, and all that.
Yes.
So I think no matter what I do,
Yeah.
no matter what I do, no matter what I say, other than maybe the fact that maybe if I acquire the citizenship of another country and maybe that other country does not recognize dual, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
But from what you can see, you can't lose your citizenship by birth. So once you're a citizen by birth, you're a citizen forever. You're a Kenyan citizen forever.
Najua
Love your
emphasize.
country.
I
Love
know
your
it's
country.
me you're emphasizing that
Yeah.
part on.
However, someone who acquired citizenship by registration can lose his or her citizenship,
Yeah.
according to Article 17.
And so part 2 of Article 17 was the weird one for me, because there's one part like B that says the nationality or parentage of the person becomes known and reveals that the person was a citizen of another country. That it can be actually the citizenship it can be revoked because of that, when
That
the
is
nationality or parentage of the person becomes known and you are here by registration. I was trying to understand part 2, what it talks about.
Oh, no.
Can be
It talks about...
It may be revoked if the nationality...
No. You see now ways in which one can acquire citizenship by birth. There's, of course, when you're born in Kenya, but then there's another way in which you can acquire citizenship by birth. A child who appears to be below 8 years and whose parentage or nationality is not known. Yani, venye Moses alipatikana Egypt.
Okay.
You get?
Okay.
So a child like that now will be presumed to be a citizen of Kenya.
Okay.
You get?
I get you.
Like, you just find a child randomly and an aka below 8, and the parentage is not known. They don't know the parents. They also don't know the nationality of this child. Then it should be assumed that the child is a citizen of Kenya.
That makes sense now.
But then now, maybe years later, you find out that umtoto is actually the child of Tanzanian citizens. Then that child automatically loses that citizenship.
DNA inapatikana, unajulikana
So
wewe
that's
ni wa
what
wapi.
it says. Yeah, like the citizenship of a person who was presumed to be a citizen by birth is contemplated. So if it's discovered that that child was above 8, I think the age is 8.
I think so.
The citizenship was acquired by fraud, nationality or parentage becomes known and reveals that the person was a citizen of another country, or the age of the person becomes known and reveals the person was older than 8. So if it's discovered that that person was older than 8, or the nationality is discovered, or the parentage is discovered and that parentage has no links with Kenya, then that person who was presumed to be a citizen loses the citizenship.
All right. I don't think there's much more that I wanted to add from citizenship, unless you have something else to add.
No, I don't have anything to add with regard to citizenship.
Yeah.
Just be a good citizen, whether or not you support the BBI, make sure you vote. That's being a good citizen.
It's good also to get your passport, guys. Don't just...
but they may have a passport.
Yeah, it's good to... The new one or the old one?
Hey, East African community.
So, I'm sorry. Wengine wetu hatujaiendea. So guys, I think that's one of the biggest things that I can tell people to do. Just get your passport and also with the East Africa community, like at least tumefunguliwa, not even the passport is not really needed. You can actually travel around and see this beautiful country. At the end of the day, there's a lot more that we have not added, guys, when it comes to citizenship. Please take time, go read all through these chapters, get to read about entitlements, retention, citizenship by birth and registration. Don't be an 844 like me, GHC, who thought naturalization was still there. Think about the dual, the citizenship, revocation, and there's a big part that we haven't. I think the legislations, when it comes to legislation on citizenship, I think Parliament has already found something that is concrete, so there's really no big legislations that they can enact from there. I think the biggest one that they needed to work on was the dual citizenship that was added. And these things, you need to go and check them out. Go read for yourself, ask questions, so that when we come here we are ready. Same for all the other chapters. As you know, now we'll go into chapter 4, the Bill of Rights, and this is one of those ones that Elsie is fully fired up for, and so you can ask all the questions that you need to ask, and also follow us on Twitter and all the social media platforms. Even check us out on acute.co.ke. Karibu ni umemdomo hiyo part ya mwisho. And just ask
acute with a Q.
Acute with a Q. And yeah, if you have any questions, get Elsie ready. Fire these questions completely. I know the Bill of Rights is one of those ones that we'll spend some time on, and she'll be very vocal about, and I'll just be here enjoying the learning process as we go through. Elsie, last words.
People, see you next time. See you.
Leo hata una kakut kakuongeza.
I don't have words. I've already said everything I have to say. You know my position with regard to the, Kenya not having a state religion. I think I've already, informed you guys that, our president cannot be a dual citizen. We need someone who's only loyal to Kenya, who only owes loyalty to Kenya, does not owe loyalty to another state.
All right.
Yeah, I think that is it for both citizenship and chapter 2, which is on the Republic of Kenya. By the way, we forgot to mention something.
All right.
Chapter 2.
Uh-huh.
It talks about the territory of Kenya. Of course, if you went through the Kenyan system, you know how to do the map of Kenya. So you know the territory of Kenya.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, Migingo, Somalia. Yeah, we have disputes with other countries over territories. But yeah.
Territorial stuff is always a big fight, and I know people will always try and claim, especially when there are resources in play. They'll always be Migingo ni samaki, Somalia ni mafuta. This one is always going to be always because of resources. That's when if you get a dry land with nothing, barren, nothing, no one will ever contest about them. And
that's it for today.
I think that's it for today. Sitasema kuna mtu anaenda harusi leo, but guys, it's been a good one. Hope you have a nice week. Let's see you next time.